The first annual ACORD Forum Australia brought dozens of insurance executives and technology professionals to Sydney to learn about ACORD's growing Australian programs. ACORD staff met in Moscow with a coalition of leading insurers who have agreed to implement ACORD standards in Russia.
The fact that Russia would choose to use ACORD to handle domestic insurance as well as global trade is an important point for our members.
We also saw continued success in standardizing transactions in London.
We know ACORD is extremely important for that perspective, and it's important to our clients.
There's no doubt. I mean, the ACORD standards are our industry standards.
ACORD partners with international industry organizations, including Canada's Centre for Study of Insurance Operations. Top CSIO executives visited our New York office to deepen the long-standing relationship. ACORD and XBRL International also enhanced their collaboration.
We have a couple of exciting business case studies that we're undertaking right now to look at the way in which XBRL standards and ACORD standards can touch one another.
For the second year in a row, we presented the Insurance Data and Analytics Summit, where attendees took a deep dive into big data.
There's some problems that you can solve that you couldn't solve before. It just makes economic sense.
The ACORD Implementation Forum brought a record number of attendees to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for training in standards, the framework, and ACORD certified expert testing.
It's worth the trip, so I think it's excellent.
At AIF, metrics expert Doug Hubbard shared his research and announced that implementing ACORD standards can save the insurance industry at least $1 billion.
It simplifies transactions among all these trading partners. There's a value to that, and we can estimate that.
Our new Forms portal consists of a tool set for the designing, editing, and publishing of ACORD forms.
This is now an enterprise tool set that saves us a lot of time and reduces the need for repetitive processes caused by legacy systems.
The portal also features a vendor library. It's a convenient way to check which vendor products contain current ACORD forms. The new cedent bordereau standard slashed the time required for processing loss information from cedent companies.
It's been extremely valuable, and now we're looking forward to additional partners and additional quarters.
E-accounting messaging improves premium payment times by between 15 and 17 days and helps eliminate what's known as unmatched cash.
Not only is it quicker, but it's also more accurate, has high reconciliation rates, and less errors.
The newly launched ACORD Knowledge Center on the web offers valuable information to help you work smarter.
We want ACORD to be a one-stop shop for people who are implementing our standards.
ACORD social media was on fire this year, with hundreds of video views and thousands of new friends and followers. Speaking of new, these fresh faces joined the ACORD team: Paul Harris, Maggie Leone, Ed Skoviak, Karen McPadden, and most recently, Monique Hesseling.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome ACORD President and CEO, Gregory A. Maciag.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. It's good to see all of you, and thank you, Mr. Kersner, for those timely comments. A little scary, in fact. I want to take 5 minutes before we bring on Mr. Woodward. It's been another terrific year for ACORD members, and that video only begins to highlight the many initiatives on so many fronts underway around the world. And as you can see, it always comes down to people collaborating and deciding how best to do business together. ACORD is always on the move, and the ACORD staff takes moving very seriously. We even moved the ACORD office a few weeks ago. Take a look at this.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it.
And we're still moving, as a matter of fact. When you see this logo, what comes to your mind? Standards, most likely, and in some cases, standard forms. It's easy to define organizations by what they do rather than who they are. That distinction is important because while our mission is fairly consistent, the work we do does change. We collectively focus on efficiency, cost containment, and of course, standards. And over the years, we created standard forms, direct bill guidelines, planning tools, computer management seminars, change management seminars, EDI and XML standards, of course, and yes, we even had a network back in the 1980s. So, is ACORD a standards organization? The answer is yes, among other things. The bigger picture revolves around efficiency that certainly includes connecting systems and moving information. Let's take a closer look at what makes ACORD ACORD. Yes, we're an association, we're funded by the industry, we're governed by the industry. We cooperate. We have committees and working groups around the world. And we constantly reach out to like-minded industry organizations about partnerships and alliances. And we add social media and collaboration tools to connect everyone, well, just about everywhere. But we also focus on operations. In fact, that's our middle name. The strange thing about middle names, most people have middle names. We don't all use them. We abbreviate them. We seldom pay attention to them. We don't talk much about operations at ACORD. We talk more about standards. What I like about the O word in ACORD is that it gets us to think beyond standards. It's not about using standards to do something. It's about doing something using standards. There's a difference. When people ask about standards, I want my staff to say, that's great, we can help, but let's talk about what you plan to do. What's the business context? What's the frame of reference? What's the process? What are you looking to do? We don't get maximum value from standards if data gets corrupted by bad process. And sometimes the ownership of data and process are thought to be separate concerns. But process and data are clearly connected. Let me share just one example with you. Rush Lacan. The Rush Lacan mission statement is to reshape the reinsurance industry by designing and implementing a process to reduce cost and enhance client service. Rush Lacan is powered by ACORD standards, but they add a process layer. Actually, Rush Lacan is the name of a small town in Switzerland. It's a meeting location for reinsurers and their partners that focus on ACORD back office standards for accounting and claims. They agreed that process must be part of the package. So they added business rules, protocols, and best practices to the mix. And the results are impressive. Reconciling accounts, settling premiums 15 days earlier, eliminating unmatched cash, as you heard in the video, and cutting costs by as much as 30%. Now, that's a very, very quantifiable return on investment, and participants have gone on record saying so, like this one.
The ACORD standards are really the golden egg. if as an industry I can talk to somebody in Sydney, in Munich, in Chicago in the same language in terms of how those messages are being transmitted, and I know that I'm going to get a consistent data format for my accounting information, rather than the old world, which was a free format spreadsheet and a set of emails, I now have certainty around that. We can build systems around that, and it really provides the whole framework and the glue that holds everything together. So it really is a big benefit for the industry.
Come and meet Simon. He's at the booth later on today. Rushlicon has gained momentum. North America has a comparable effort, as well as London, Bermuda, Asia, and Australia. So come to the ACORD booth and get some information about Rushlicon. We're also, by the way, looking at escheatment process definitions for life insurance, quick tickets for life and long-term care policies, as well as e-policy delivery. The more we talk about shared process, the easier it becomes to engage business leaders. Rushlicon type projects would never be as successful if we only focused on this process of standards. Now let's talk about R&D. Research and development. Again, one does not think about R&D when thinking about ACORD, but it's also part of our DNA. The ultimate purpose of R&D is to identify opportunities and influence change. We're paying attention to the ID Trust Federation, looking at single sign-on to address the password madness in our business. We're paying attention to e-signature. We're creating standards for telematics. We're looking at proposals to ensure data authenticity and non-repudiation. We're researching flexibility for ACORD forms, called flexible forms, cloud solutions, big data, predictive analytics, and mobility. We're also looking to build new platforms to maintain our standards, to implement our standards across all lines of business, in all geographies, with user portals to support software developers. So R&D as well is also alive in ACORD as well. Okay, look, the ACORD 2020 project that we've got underway. ACORD 2020 is intended to stimulate creative thinking about the future that in turn influences what we do today. Here's Spiro.
We're certainly improving in terms of our process efficiencies and our enabling technologies to deliver customer service and enable profitability. Certainly we're in a much better place than we had been previously. I think the efforts of ACORD on the standards development side in working with numerous trading partners in the value chain of the insurance industry have helped us. On the ACORD 2020 side, we've done a lot of work on research and development. We're doing some work with communities, and we're doing some work on metrics that should really benefit ACORD members and all the partners in the value chain of our industry.
Spiro chairs ACORD 2020 for us. It's not so much about being right or wrong as much as being useful. None of this replaces our role as a publisher of standards, but it gets us to think more holistically about the industry and the organizations that we serve. So the next time you see this logo, I hope you think as much about operations and research and development as you do about standards. Remember, where the focus goes, the energy flows. Finally, let's not overlook the value of real face time. The time we spend here together at ACORD LOMA, or any place for that matter, has real value. And the connections we make over the next few days can only add to the richness of our virtual relationship. So let's get started. Thanks for listening. I'll be out in a moment. Thank you.